All right, well, coming out of the forecast, we can see that, yes, winter is coming. So you know it's going to be there. The roads are going to get icy. Snow, sleet lead to an increase in motor vehicle accidents at this time of year. So what happens if you get into one, and what happens if it's a result of poor car maintenance on your part or the party that hits you? John Philp is here, personal injury lawyer from Preszler Law. All right. Let's start to break it down. Winter tires, do you have to have them on your car?
Well, there's no legal requirement that you have winter tires on your car, but listen, this is our busiest time of year. As a personal injury lawyer, accidents, December, January, are very prevalent. People forget how to drive in the wintertime.
Right.
And we see a lot of cases where rear-end collision situations where the person's not going very fast, and if they had winter tires, very good chance they would have gotten the traction and stopped in time. So it's not a legal requirement for you to have winter tires.
But it could show up in litigation.
Absolutely, and it's actually, if you get winter tires, you can potentially get a reduction in your insurance premiums as well. You should talk to your insurance company about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a very good point, that if you could very well have those rates reduced through the winter. So does that also apply to overall maintenance of the car?
Absolutely. Listen, before you get in your car, if there's the first snow of the year, make sure your headlights are cleaned off. Make sure that your winter wipers are working. Make sure that you've done all of your due diligence before getting into that car and getting on the road to ensure that your vehicle is operating properly. I know this, again, it sounds overkill, but you really should be checking these things before you get on the road.
Absolutely. And to be quite honest, as a person who keeps okay files, but not great files, I'm like, you need to keep all of these things. Every time you have maintenance done on your car, keep it, because heaven forbid you end up someone who is being litigated, you might have to show that, right? And
that's absolutely the case. If someone's involved in a motor vehicle accident, one of the first things we're going to look at is, has the person taken care of their vehicle? Obviously, the circumstances of the accident are going to be important, but if the failure to maintain that vehicle factors into the accident, then that's going to potentially result in liability against the at-fault driver.
So if someone comes to you and they have a claim, these are all the things that you start to investigate as a lawyer.
Absolutely. And when you look at having a lawsuit, we talked about this a little bit the last time I was here. You can look for injuries that the person has sustained, and you can actually get compensation for those injuries. Mm-hmm. And we talked about that amount being capped at about $350,000.
Yeah, this is so interesting because, this is, last time you were here, we touched on this, and you said you got so many emails after, right?
I did, because people were a little bit confused in the sense that, well, why would I go for a lawsuit if the most I'm ever going to get is $350,000? Well, that's actually not the case. The $350,000 is actually rated to inflation. That's what the courts have said for your actual injury. So the pain and suffering that someone has, no matter how serious the the injury, that's the most you can get.
350 capped.
Correct, approximately.
Yeah.
But what's most important in these lawsuits is, let's say you have a 35-year-old gentleman who's making $50,000 a year, and he's injured so seriously that he's never going to work again. Well, in the civil lawsuit, you would actually look to the at-fault driver to make that person whole. So you would pursue their future income loss up to age 65, so $50,000 a year for potentially 30 years.
And would that be in addition to $350,000?
Correct. I mean, obviously depending on how serious the injuries are.
But if you're looking at, okay, and there's no maximum on that then, what you could be earning yearly?
Well, there isn't, and it also depends on what the person you're suing, it also depends on how much their insurance is for. So you have liability insurance on your motor vehicle, usually up to $1 million. And sometimes these lawsuits can go past that. That's when you get into a situation of personal liability.
Gotcha. All right. John Philp from Preszler Law, thank you.
Thank you.
And if you have any personal injury questions for John and his team at Preszler, visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/morningshowto. Now here's Kim with a look at traffic.